With Jessica's death, it became certain that the culprit was hiding somewhere nearby, and that they would come after our lives if they had a chance. According to Genji-san, when tomorrow morning comes, the boat should arrive. The boat has a radio too. We'll probably be able to contact the police immediately with that. We all gathered in the parlor, and decided to wait quietly until tomorrow. I proposed that we should search throughout the mansion for clues about the culprit. But Auntie Rosa rejected that, saying that if we put pressure on the culprit, or provoked them, it might lead to a third murder. That was probably the right thing to do. Even if a bunch of amateurs like us investigated, there's no way we'd find anything. It would be wisest to focus on protecting ourselves without doing anything unnecessary, and leave it to the police after tomorrow. We had been tense in the beginning, but other than Auntie Rosa, most of us had spent all morning watching TV and were getting bored, so our sense of danger had grown much less intense. When we thought about it, even though there certainly had been 6 adults killed at once in the first murder, that made us imagine that some backhanded method like poison had been used. And in the second murder, it was thought that those two had become sacrifices because they were unfortunately isolated from the rest of us. From this, we imagined that there weren't a great number of culprits, and they didn't have the ability to kill this large group gathered in the parlor all at once. Right now, in this parlor, there was George Nikki and me, Maria, Auntie Rosa, Genji-san, Goda-san, Shannon-san, Kumasawa-san, and finally Dr. Nanjo. A total of 9 people were here. Furthermore, Auntie Rosa was even armed with a gun. Surely, with this many people staying in this room, they wouldn't be able to touch us easily. That feeling of security, along with the passage of time, allowed us to recover from the shock of that morning bit by bit. Incidentally, lunchtime had just ended for us. However, it had been a canned food lunch, a far cry from last night's dinner, which Goda-san had skillfully made for us. Auntie Rosa, too, had suspected that poison had been used in the murder of those 6 people. So we probably could have denied the possibility that the culprit had snuck into the kitchen during all that confusion in the morning, and mixed poison in with the ingredients there. Auntie Rosa had ordered all of us not to put anything into our mouths except for safe foods like canned food, until the police came. As a cook, Goda-san must have felt very let down. As though he wanted to display his skill anyway, he said that he at least wanted to bring the plates and pile them up with canned food. At first, Auntie Rosa had been reluctant, examining each one of the plates that were brought, but she hadn't been able to find anything to complain about. And Goda-san's Chef's Pick Canned Food Lunch Combo Lunch. Chef's Pick Canned Food Combo Lunch, had become a reality. Goda-san had said something about taste being savored, not just with the tongue, but with the eyes too. I found myself agreeing. It had been the same canned food we ate for breakfast, but it felt like something completely different. As I was sitting lazily on a sofa, with no desire to watch TV, Maria came over, pulled a picture book out of her handbag, and held it out to me as she said that.
なんだよ、その本は。狼と羊のパズル？どれどれ？
Wolves and Sheep Puzzle. It was a phrase that Auntie Rosa had said this morning when we had gone to call on Jessica. At the time, I hadn't known what it meant, and then after that, there was the uproar when Jessica's body was found, so I'd forgotten about it completely. The book that Maria held out to me looked like a foreign picture book, or something that had been translated. Opening it, I could tell that the book contained an assortment of puzzles.
おお、何匹かの狼と羊よね。一台のボートを使って対岸まで連れてくパズルなの。
ああ？そんなルールのゲームを聞いたことあるな。これはそれの狼と羊バージョンなのか。
Melody. Instrumental version. Are we gonna hear the, non-instrumental? I kinda wanna know, like, what is the lyrics to this? I guess we'll hear it later on, I guess. It was a very simple puzzle, passed on from long ago. Let's try one of the problems. On the right bank, there are 2 wolves and 2 sheep. There is a boat that as many as 2 animals can ride on, and using it, you have to move all 4 of them to the opposite left bank. There are 2 rules. The first is regarding the boat. It can be paddled by wolves or sheep, and even just by 1 animal on its own. But it can only hold up to 2. The second is regarding the wolves. When they are greater in number than the sheep in that location, they attack the sheep and it's game over. For example, at the start of the game, both sheep ride the boat and go to the other side. Then one sheep gets off, and the other goes back to the first bank. When it does, there are 2 wolves on the first bank, and a single sheep returns there. When that happens, there are more wolves, so the sheep is attacked, and it's game over. On either bank, or even the boat, there must not be more wolves than sheep. Well, hold on. I already know the answer to this puzzle already. It's a puzzle about how to shuttle them across in the boat under these conditions. By the way, the right answer is... Crap, I was gonna say my answer. I was gonna say my answer before they said it. Damn it. Okay. On the first turn, move both wolves to the opposite bank. Then 1 wolf comes back. On the second turn, move 2 sheep to the opposite bank. Then 1 wolf comes back. On the third turn, put that last wolf that was on the right bank on the boat and cross to the opposite bank. And congratulations, transport successful. Part way, there may be the same number of wolves and sheep in the boat or on either side, but that isn't a problem. You only lose when the number of wolves is greater. This book symbolizes its using wolves and sheep, but there are probably lots of people who know this same game with a different symbolism. It looked like Maria wanted to test whether I too could solve the puzzle she knew how to solve. And she kept showing me different pages saying, solve this one, and this one's hard. What had been happening when Auntie Rosa had said the name of this puzzle? That's right. When we decided to go call Jessica, we had been talking about how many men should go. And Auntie Rosa mentioned wolf and sheep puzzle. and said that we should all go together.
おいおい
At that store, that could only mean one thing. Auntie Rosa was saying that there are wolves among us. And when the number of wolves and sheep is balanced, we're safe. But when a situation comes up where that isn't the case, the wolves will bare their fangs. Is that what she's thinking? At the time we had found our parents' corpses, Auntie Rosa was already suspecting that the servants might be wolves. While she didn't know whether it was all of them or just some, she had sniffed out the possibility that wolves were hiding among them. Well, yeah. That murder scene was pretty damn elaborate. It's easy to imagine that there were multiple culprits. And considering that she had that idea already in mind when we went to Jessica's room, where Jessica had been alone with a servant, Kanon, and had been killed. It isn't hard to imagine why Auntie Rosa had suspected the servant so persistently.
使用人の皆さん、合田さんが食器を洗いに厨房に戻ります。念のためです。皆さんも同行してください。
皆さん、申し訳ありません。団体行動で参りましょう。
シャノン、熊沢、行くぞ。
はいはい、ただいま。ほほほほほ。
それではジョージさん、一度失礼いたします。
うん。気をつけて。あ、ローザおばさん、僕も一緒に行っていいかな。
ごめんなさい。ジョージ君は残ってくれるかしら。ちょっとお話ししたいことがあるの。
そうですか。シャノン、ごめん。とにかく気をつけて。一人にならないでね。
はい。
南條先生、すみません。ちょっとご相談が。
Okay.
はい、何ですかな。
The servants put the dishes and empty cans on the serving cart and started to head out into the corridor. Behind them, Auntie Rosa was talking to Dr. Nanjo about something in a small voice.
わかりました。参りましょう。
She's also kicking out Nanjo. Interesting.
ええ、よろしくお願いしますね。
Dr. Nanjo closed the book he had been reading, stood from the sofa, and followed after the servants. Auntie Rosa stuck her head out into the hallway, and after watching them leave completely, she closed the door and spoke.
みんな聞いて。これで今ここにいるのは後ろ宮の人間だけね。
Oh?
確かにそうなりますね。
狼を全部追い出したってことっすか？
Yeah, I had a feeling that Rosa was going to do something like this. Though, Rosa, you're technically wrong. Well, you're right, all the people in the room is Ushiyamiya, but there is one Ushiyamiya that you're leaving completely alone. Kenzo. So, not all the sheep are in the same room, though Kenzo is not a sheep, he's a wolf. So, yeah, he's the wolf of the Ushiyamiya family. Or the ghost.
ローザおばさん。
With that one sentence, Auntie Rosa's gaze grew sharp. Apparently, she had picked up on my sardonic tone. Auntie Rosa laughed lightly.
バトラ君は頭の回転が速いのね。賢い子は好きよ。
Oh?
話が早いの。
おお、バトラー頭いい？
Say it.
これかける？
Oh, okay. I thought she was gonna say a joke about witches or something. But no, I don't think this is a good time.
64ページの難しいの。おお。
マリアは少しの間テレビを見ていなさい。ママはバトラ君たちとお話があるの。
おお。
ローザおばさん、パズルの話はバトラ君に聞いたよ。用心深いのは悪いことじゃないと思うけど、さすがに疑り深すぎるのもどうかと思うよ。
真の犯人がベアトリーチェかどうかは別にして、
Beckoning.
少なくとも使用人たちがその一味であることを疑うことはできると思うの。
We just have to figure out which one of them is working with Beatrice.
兄さんたちが殺されていた最初の殺人、とても残酷な仕打ちがされていたわよね。あれが一人でできる真似に見える。
謎の来客ベアトリーチェ様が夜鍋をしてチクチクやったのかもしれねえぜ。
ジェシカちゃんの部屋の扉をめぐるマスターキンの件は使用人の誰かが関わっている証拠じゃない。
Only a master key could have locked the door to Jessica's room. In that case, we can only suppose that one of the servants locked it. No, wait.
チェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。おかしいよ、ローザおばさん。なんで犯人はジェシカを殺した後、わざわざ施錠したんだ？施錠すればマスターキーの持ち主が疑われるのは必然。わざわざ施錠する必要がないぜ。
To make everyone suspect Kanon, the one that's missing.
そうだよ。バトラ君の言う通りだ。わざわざ疑われるようなことをする理由がない。
それは面白い考えよね。もちろん私もそれは考えた。だとしたら施錠した人物は使用人を疑わせたくてマスターキーなしであの扉を閉めた。でもそれは不可能でしょ？
That's right. If there was a trick that could lock the door without a master key, this would be a good disguise aimed at casting doubt on the servants. If the culprit wanted to isolate us and attack us one by one, this trick was a very effective one that could give rise to paranoia. That could even give rise to paranoia. However, there was no way to lock that door without using a master key.
マスターキーを使わずに閉める方法がないなんてどうして言い切れるの？ルドルフ兄さんの言っていた悪魔の証明になるんじゃない？私たちには想像もつかない方法で閉められたのかもしれない。
Magic. They're gonna say magic something. It's gonna be explained with magic.
私たちに思いつかないからといって未知のトリックがあることを否定することにはならない。
そりゃそうだけどよ。つまりあれか？疑わしきは黒ってわけなのか？
具体的なトリックはわからないけれど、それでも外角はわかるの。申し訳ないけど、カノン君を犯人だと仮定すると非常に簡単に説明できる。死体がない理由までね。
だってカノン君はマスターキーを持ってなかったんですよ。他の使用人ならともかくカノン君にだけは施錠はできなかったはず。
なるほど。それでローザおばさんは ジェシカの部屋に入って早々に俺たちにクローゼットなんかを探せと言い出したわけか。ローザおばさんこそ普段の様子から想像できるより頭の回転が速いな。
妹の頭の回転速度は常に姉マイナス1よ。
Did you just confess that Ava's smarter than you?
今は誰にも気を使う必要がないから先制するわ。
George and Nikki realized that she was referring to Auntie Ava, and seemed a little disturbed about how he should take that nasty remark.
ごめん。僕にも分かるように説明してほしいな。カノン君のマスターキーはジェシカちゃんのポケットに入って密室に閉じ込められていた。施錠した後に部屋の外からポケットに入れるなんて芸当は不可能なはず。
違うんだよ兄貴。ローザおばさんの想像しているやり方ならこのトリックはカノン君にしか使えない。そしてジェシカのポケットにマスターキーを入れたまま鍵なしで施錠することができる。そしてその結果として死体もなくなることになる。
What?
どうやって？鍵なしでどうやって施錠するんだい？
簡単よ。ジョージ君だって帰宅したら施錠するでしょ。つまみをひねってカチリとね。
まさか。いやでもカノン君の姿はどこにも。
兄貴にもピンときたみてえだな。ローザおばさんが室内を探したのはそういうことだ。内側から鍵を閉めジェシカのポケットに鍵を突っ込んだカノン君がどこかに隠れて俺たちをやり過ごそうとしているのを探したんだ。
Could it work? Maybe, but I'm trying to remember the Red Truce. Well, okay, and the Red Truce canon is dead, so and I'm second guessing myself because from the Red Truce. Oh God, I think I broke myself. Oh God, I'm broken. Okay. This is where my mind's at. We saw what happened to Kanon and Jessica through the, what Beatrice and her own furniture and the 7-6 did to them. And also, I'm just gonna play the game, okay? The simplest locked room trick. In other words, to hide inside the locked room after committing the murder. And if he could get out after those who discovered the body left, it would create a perfect locked room murder.
私たちはあの部屋を探したけれど何も見つけられなかった。でもだからといってあの部屋に使用人たちしか知らない秘密の隠し通路のようなものがないとは言えない。
Okay, that was definitely in red. There's no hidden doors. The only way to get in and out was the door to Jessica's room.
それがどこに隠されていたかはわからないけれど、その隠し通路を仮定し推理することで彼しかありえないと断言できるのよ。
その推理はよ、俺も一番最初に考えた。一番嫌な推理だから、一番最初にその可能性を潰したかった。
カノンはこの部屋で殺されたであろう。そ
そなたはカノンが犯人であると疑いそうになったため、真っ先にその可能性を潰すためにこれを復唱させたのだ。
Say this in red. Kanon's not the culprit. No, that's okay, that would be way too easy, but even though he might be dead, that still doesn't make him that innocent. Because nothing in the clarifications in red does state he, you know, killed her then died, or died then killed her. When likely, he killed her and then he died. That's more like the more likely explanation, but nothing in the red ever states that a dead person cannot be the culprit.
わかっておるわかっておる。
だからその次に考えたのはこうだった。あの部屋にいたのは実は3人だったという説だ。ジェシカとカノン君は被害者、そして犯人である来客ベアトリーチェも一緒にいたという考えだ。
そなたは人間であるわらわが魔法を使わずに犯行を行ったことにしたいのだったな。
By the way, where are you, Beatrice? Where are you? There's a little bit of weirdness going on here. Where are you, Beatrice?
なるほど、そなたにぴったりの陳説であるぞ。
お前は2人を殺し内側から施錠した。そしてカノン君の死体を担いで普通の人は気づかない秘密の方法、つまり隠し扉を使って部屋から脱出したんだと読んだ。しかしお前に赤で言われちまった。あの部屋に隠し扉の類はないってな。
There we go. Jeez. That conversation they're having with Rosa confused me. I'm sorry. There we go. I thought that was the case.
うん。お前たちの知らない秘密の通路は存在せぬぞ。ノックスだったかバンダインだったか。何でもミステリーには秘密の通路があってはいけないらしい。そのお作法にわらわも従ったということよ。つまり名探偵は部屋を調べ尽くさずして隠し通路がないと断言できるわけだ。人間の推理ごっことはなんとお気楽なものよの。
くそ、でけえこと言いやがるぜ。ありがとよ。魔女様のお取り計らいのおかげで俺も部屋を探し尽くさずにあの部屋に隠し扉がないと断言できるぜ。
うん。この部屋に隠し扉はない。扉と窓以外に出入りする方法はない。
Thanks for the repetition.
ってことはよ、今ローザおばさんがぶってる自信満々の仮説は間違ってるってわけだ。しかも悔しいことにこの仮説は反証不能だ。魔女のお前は赤で隠し扉はないと断言すればそれで決着する。しかし人間の俺はローザおばさんにそれを反論しても受け入れられないだろう。隠し扉がないことを人間は証明できない。悪魔の証明になっちまう。くそ、魔女ってのは便利だな。
そんな、あるかないかもわからない隠し扉を理由にカノン君を犯人呼ばわりするなんて僕は納得できないな。
納得できないならより納得できる推理を聞かせて。ないのよ。私はずっと考えてる。これしかないのよ。ジョージ君はシャノンちゃんと仲が良かったわね。だから使用人全員が犯人であることは受け入れがたいと思うの。
I don't think it's all of them. I I think that's where you're wrong. I don't think it's all of them. Because that's way too easy to make that sort of, assumption. That's way too easy. But also, this game does like to find logic. So, the easy answer might be the answer that all the servants are involved. But I don't think so. I don't think every single one of the servants is involved with this plot. That's what I'm saying. I don't think all the servants did it. But I don't know which ones are innocent.
私もシャノンちゃんが犯人の一味であるなんて信じたくないでも全員であるか否かはともかく確実にあの中に犯人もしくは共犯がいるのよそれだけは見誤っちゃダメ
カノン君以外にも狼がいると見てたんだなジェシカの部屋で犯人はカノン君だと大騒ぎしたのに使用人たちの反応を見るためだったっていうのか
ええそうよそしてその結果私は一層の疑いを持つに至ったわ確実に使用人の中に狼がいる確実にねそして狼と羊のパズルのように普段はおとなしくしているけれどチャンスがあったら襲ってくるに違いないのジェシカちゃんは一人で船に乗った羊よあのパズルでは頭数の時は襲ってこないけど私たちのパズルは違う
What about Dr. Nanjo? No, okay, I can see why she might suspect Dr. Nanjo because of how close he is with Kenzo.
チャンスと人数次第なら頭数でも襲ってくるジェシカちゃんが殺されたように
僕は怒りたいことがあるじゃあ厨房へ行かされてるシャノンは危険な状態じゃないか今すぐ僕たちも厨房へ行くべきだ誰が狼だろうと狼でなかろうと僕たち全員が揃っていれば均衡するならそれを保ち続けるべきだと思う
シャノンちゃんはお父様のところへ源氏さんと一緒に行ったその時に孤立したはずなのに殺されなかった源氏さんも狼ではないから違うわ二人とも狼だったからよ
シャノンは悪事の片棒を担ぐような人じゃないいくらローザおばさんでもそれは聞き流せません今の発言に対し僕は取り消しを要求します
兄貴の前で悪いがその論法エヴァおばさんの雰囲気にそっくりだなこっちが反論できなきゃ自動的に自分が正しいみたいなやっぱり血は争えないなおばさん
私だって今の自分はあまり褒められたものじゃないとは思ってるでもね私は母なのマリアの無事を守るためなら鬼にもなるわ
You're a demon even when you're not protecting your daughter.
本当ならマリアと二人きりでどこかに閉じこもっていたいくらいよでも私は同時にあなたたちの母でもあるつもりなの今やあなたたちは私の子供も同然私は自分の子じゃないからといってあなたたちを見捨てたりしない絶対
そりゃどうも
私はあなたたちの母として油断しないでと警告したかっただけなの常に私の目の届くところにいて私があなたたちを守ってあげる
ついでに俺たちが狼でないことも監視してくれるってわけだそりゃありがたいぜ そういうおばさんは自分が狼ではないって証明はできるのかよ。
Balor's really on it in this episode. Holy crap.
ええ、できるわ。
即答っすね。どうやって？
これよ。これが証拠よ。
That doesn't make you any more innocent! Auntie Rosa held up the gun and pointed the barrel at me. But that was only for an instant. She immediately lowered the gun, laughing impishly. But to me, the time I spent staring down the barrel of the gun had felt like an eternity.
その銃がどうローザおばさんが犯人でないことを証明するというんですか？
I didn't shoot Balor just now when I had the chance to shoot him.
考えてもみて。私が犯人だったらどう？使用人たちが出ていったこの千載一遇の機会を逃すと思う。
Two problems with that line of reasoning. I wanted to go ahead and state this. There's two lines of reasoning. After shooting Balor, George can easily take you down. Also, from your personality, Rosa, I don't think you would execute Balor right in front of your daughter. Yes, perfect family activity. Execute your cousin right in front of your 9-year-old. That's when I call BS on that, Rosa. Though I also don't think you're the culprit. At the same time, that line of reasoning still doesn't help your case, in my opinion.
あなたたちをズドンと撃って、あとは適当な言い訳をするだけよ。窓の外にベアトリーチェが現れて銃を撃ってきたとかね。私は2発を撃ち返したと称して2発分の空薬莢を床に捨てればいい。
そりゃすげえ乱暴な理論だが確かに一理あるぜ。
There's no way she could have even gotten away with that one. Like, yeah, she might have been able to kill Balor and George, but everyone's gonna know, you fucking did it. Like, all the servants will walk in and they're just like, Rosa, you fucking did it. If it was Beatrice, why only those two?
クラウス兄さんが昔よく言ってたわ。
And also, you would have to shoot through the window. And you have to shoot from the outside. That'll take a lot of time, and you're also gonna have to convince Maria not to say anything. So yeah, I'm sorry that I'm judging so much on Rosa's line of reasoning, because she is saying some pretty important stuff. At the same time, her line of reasoning also kind of sucks.
力こそ正義ってね。これがまさにそうなのかしら。ごめんなさいね、二人とも。私も今朝からの事件続きでかなり冷静さを失ってる。普段の私を知る二人から見れば、今の私は余裕がなくて少し短気そうに見えるかもしれない。
Maybe because I don't know how you normally are, Rosa, but to me, you always seem on edge and a little short-tempered when you're alone with Maria.
でも分かってる。私は悪意ある犯人からあなたたちを守りたい。そのためには鬼になる。それだけのことなの。怒らせるようなことを言ってごめんなさいね。バトラ君、ジョージ君、仲直りしましょう。
George Aniki was wearing an unsatisfied expression. He probably couldn't forgive the damage done to Shannon's honor. What about me? Several bits of circumstantial evidence hint strongly at the servant's participation. I don't want to believe that one of them is the culprit, or possibly colluding with the culprit. But in the current situation, That's nothing but wishful thinking. Who should I believe? In the first place, who is the culprit? Are there accomplices? If so, how many? I feel like I'm constantly only suspecting the people connected to all this. I find myself quickly forgetting about that 19th person. The guest, Beatrice, who came yesterday and boldly called herself the Golden Witch. I haven't actually seen her face. I've heard that she's like a double of the witch in that portrait. But because I haven't seen her directly, no matter how hard I try, I can't really feel like there are 19 people on this island. So, I easily slip into the illusion that the culprit is one of the 18. Damn it! Come out, Beatrice! If you're the bad guy, then act like the bad guy, and show yourself, laughing in a high-pitched voice and looking down at us. Just like a bad guy in one of those dramas who, even once they're exposed as the culprit, aggressively says, "Is there any proof?"
うっせえ。てめえはしばらく黙ったら。
That was a good bit of comedy. Are we going to see the servants? Or not? Ah. Okay, we went right to the servants. And with the first line being, there were 5 humans in the kitchen. Let's count how many humans there are just in case. 1? Okay, there is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, alright. Alright. I'll believe you on that one. I'll believe you on that one. There are 5 humans in that room. I just had to double check just in case because, you know, everything needs to be checked in this game just to make doubly sure. There were 5 humans in the kitchen, but it was very quiet, filled only with the sound of the rain. It was only accented by the sound of Shannon and Kumasawa's washing the dishes. I'm gonna repeat that. It was only accented by the sound of Shannon and Kumasawa washing the dishes. Goda was using the leftovers from breakfast and lunch as ingredients for a servant's soup. Rosa had suspected that poison might have been added to the food, so they had decided to eat canned food, but it hadn't really been filling. But Goda thought that she was being too careful. So he was spontaneously creating a soup to be served only to those that wanted to eat it. Shannon and Kumasawa were washing the dishes that the food had been arranged on. On the inside, they thought maybe Goda should be the one to wash them, since he had been the one who wanted the food on plates in the first place. But they left their complaints unsaid for the time being. Genji and Nanjo were facing each other across a crude chess set which had seen many years. It had still only just begun. And because the opening game of the experienced players had been endlessly refined, it looked like a ritual where they just moved specified pieces in a specified order.
良い匂いですね。やはり缶詰ではこうはいきませんね。
開封した食材だけで作りましたので、毒が混入しているなんてことはありませんよ。皆さんの分もお作りしていますので、ぜひ食べましょう。もちろん私もお毒にしますよ。安心して召し上がってください。
本当にいい匂いですね。 郷田さんのまかない料理は本当に美味しいです。
美味しい材料を買ってきて美味しい料理が作れるのは当たり前です。私は師匠にあり合わせのもので美味しく作るまかない料理を極めてこそ真の料理人だと習いました。
それはいい師匠でしたな。おかげで私はとても美味しいスープをご馳走になれそうです。
親族の皆様にお召し上がりいただくための材料で作ることになってしまったのは残念です。
ローザさんも朝からのいろいろでお疲れなのでしょう。無理もないことです。
でもそのおかげで美味しい食材のスープが飲めるのですからね。
Rosa had fervently told everyone that they didn't realize the danger they were in, and that they must suspect that poison was mixed in with the food. The atmosphere in that place had led to their agreement, but their hunger wouldn't be overcome by that momentary emotion. And here is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th Twilight right in this room. I'm sorry.
皮肉にも普段の私たちではとても味わえないスープとなりました。できるなら客間の皆さんにもぜひ振る舞いたいところなのですが、
ローザ様のご指示に背いている以上よした方がいいだろう。飲みたいものだけ飲むといい。
見えないところで上手に息抜きするのも使用人の心得でございますものね。
Kumasawa laughed loudly, and Shannon and Goda laughed with her. It seemed that, in an area where only their fellow servants were gathered, they could be very relaxed. Alright. You know what, Nanjo? You've been promoted. You've been promoted to servant. Because apparently, yeah, they feel relaxed with you in there because you're a fellow servant. I don't know what I'm doing. I had like 4 hours of sleep. Shannon didn't like Goda's occasional dishonesty, but she knew that there was no falsehood in his childish smile when he cooked, nor in his desire that people enjoy his food. So even though it was a little aggravating to be made to wash the dishes, she couldn't really hate him. However, they couldn't have dreamed that Rosa was calling them wolves in the parlor at exactly the same moment they were spending their time peacefully like this. Oh shit. At the time, several of the servants heard a sound like something was being dragged, and then a thump. When a servant was carrying out a mountain of trash bags on a rainy day, or doing some work in a raincoat, they would create exactly this kind of noise and presence as they returned and hovered around the back door. So after hearing that sound, at first, none of them noticed anything out of the ordinary. But they quickly realized, in a situation where everyone was either in the kitchen or the parlor, who in the world was at the back door? As the servants all looked at each other, they checked to make sure that each one of them knew what that sound meant.
誰でございます？
Kenzo? The servants knew the mansion's layout well, so they understood how unimaginable it would be for someone from the parlor to actually go outside in this typhoon. Go all the way around and come up to this back door. Then was it Kenzo? they found it even more difficult to imagine that Kinzo, who never left to study even under normal conditions, would dash out into the middle of this typhoon for no apparent reason and come to the back of the house, where only low-class people came in or out.
気のせいじゃないですよね。
Shannon and Kumasawa drew close together, fearfully looking at the back door.
どちら様ですか?
As Goda fearfully approached the back door, he called out. And he checked with his eyes the location of a butcher's knife set on a nearby sink. He didn't pick it up yet, because there was still a possibility that this was a member of the family. However, that possibility wasn't possible. There was no response from across the door to Goda's initial question. Maybe his voice had been so quiet that it hadn't reached through all the wind and rain outside.
Genji-san.
南條先生と女たちは下がって。
一体どなたなんですかな?
Genji took a knife with a classical design from a stationary box placed near the chest set. It was something to be used instead of a paper knife to open envelopes for invoices and bills. But it was fundamentally a knife, so the blade on it could injure someone. Genji hid it in his sleeve with a well-practiced manner. Then he too approached the back door and signaled to Goda with a silent nod. Goda cautiously opened the back door. Goda cautiously approached the back door and slowly started to open it. The figure of a person suddenly shuffled into sight, landed on his knees, and fell over. Goda fell backwards onto his backside in shock. That figure was soaked with rain, smeared with mud, and drenched with blood. Hell's Halls. Holy shit! I kinda expected for them to at some point see a body. And this is it.
Kanon? 大丈夫か? 南條先生.
It was Kanon. His breath was feeble, and the puddles of mud he left quickly became drenched in bright red. But Nanjo held him and turned him face up. There was a deep, gruesome scar right in the center of his chest, as though he had been run through with a spear or something. Even now, deep red blood poured out from there.
これはひどいですよ。どうしましょう。救急箱ですか？救急箱ですか？
It's a little bit too late for that.
カノンさん、傷口に手を当ててしっかり押さえてください。使用人室のベッドに運びましょう。皆さん、手を貸してください。
さあ、カノンさん、しばらく我慢してください。
He's kind of fucked.
しっかりして。もう大丈夫よ。
Hold on. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Was he killed? Wait. Beatrice? I need to go back to your words.
カノンさん、傷口に手を当てて。
Stop. Goda, stop!
しっかり押さえてください。使用人室のベッドに運びましょう。皆さん、手を貸してください。
No, that's Nanjo. Nanjo, stop! Nanjo! There we go. But, okay, oh, there's red. There are no hidden doors in this room. There are no hidden doors. Where did you say that Kanon's dead? Kanon was killed in this room. Is he alive here? Wait, is he alive or is he dead right now? No, this is a trick! This is a trick! He's not alive! Or was he brought back to life just for this little, scene? What's going on here?
だから傷口から手を離さないで。
とにかくシオニー室へ運ぼう。熊沢ローザ様にカノンが見つかったことの報告を。
待って。
You're alive, but you were killed in Jessica's room? Huh?
ローザ様にはダメ。
No, this is Beatrice doing a trick. This is a trick. In red, Kanon's dead. How would he know about Rosa? How would he know about Rosa? This is meant to put suspicion on him from the witch. And also put suspicion on the servants. Cause Rosa's gonna find out about this. And she is gonna go ape on the servants. I'm not falling for this trick. No, I'm not falling for it.
待ってください。カノンさんがローザ様にはダメだと言っています。
Or this is supposed to get the servants to suspect Rosa! Beatrice, you are a fun witch because you're making this really fun.
どういう意味なの、カノン君。
今はいい。早くシオニー室へ運ぼう。
He's gonna die right as he gets to the room.
熊沢、ローザ様にはまだお伝えするな。カノンに事情を聞いてからにする。
はい。
After appearing in this horrible state, he had said not to tell Rosa. That could only mean something very disquieting. An eerie sense of panic rose to their faces.
さあ皆さん、急いで運びましょう。早く早く。
Kanon's wound was unbelievably deep. And judging from Nanjo's pale face, it was almost a miracle that he was still conscious.
これはひどい。
That's not even canon. That's not even canon.
何か槍のようなもので刺されたようです。肺まで届いてなければなんとか持つかも。とにかく止血を。
No matter how much Nanjo tried to wipe off that gushing deep red blood, he couldn't wipe it. He couldn't wipe it. He couldn't wipe it. He couldn't wipe it all away. And each time, the wound was aggravated, causing Kanon to cry in anguish.
カノン君、しっかりして、しっかりして。
南條先生、火炎のタオルです。なんてむごい。
容体はどうですか。
本音を言うと生きているのが信じられん深手だ。刺されどころが幸運だったのかもしれん。だが出血がひどすぎる。輸血が必要だが明日まで無理だ。
ローサ様が僕たちを。
Wow! Wow! You are definitely doing something really, really sneaky. Well, the witch feeds off of The witch feeds off of this sort of thing. She feeds off of despair. And the despair of not trusting each other is something that is like a 3-course meal for her.
喋らないで、カノン君。傷口が開いちゃう。ローザ様がやってきて、お嬢様と僕は。
なんですって？
ローザ様がですか？おお、そんなことって。
間違いないのか？
はい、間違いなくローザ様でした。
さあ、もう喋らないで。熊沢さん、もう一つの救急箱を取ってください。
Stupefaction.
源氏さん、ローザ様がなんてことはありえるのでしょうか？
The seeds have been planted.
わからん。
Disregarding Nanjo and Kumasawa, who were struggling hard and stained with blood as they tried to stop the bleeding, Genji and Goda faced each other. Because if what Kanon had said was the truth, Rosa was the culprit who killed Jessica.
おのれ、ローザめ。よくもお嬢様を。
You're overplaying your acting, Beatrice.
殺してやる。
You're overplaying your acting. Kanon screamed even more hatefully. His hate-filled voice made it seem like he had seen Jessica being harmed right before his eyes.
確かにローザ様がお嬢様を殺す理由はあるかもしれない。後ろ宮家が全滅すれば遺産は全てローザ様のもの。
Hold on. I just want to check something. Okay. I just wanted to check that.
だとしたらバトラ様やジョージ様も危険なのでは？ローザ様は銃を持っている上に今客間には彼らしかいない。源氏さん、これはかなりまずいことでは？
Is she gonna run right to the parlor or something? Yep, she did! Shannon suddenly ran out into the corridor. Her expression was complex and tragic, as though she didn't know what to believe. Shannon ran. To where? The inside of the mansion had been scrupulously cleaned, so they probably wouldn't be easy to find. She might find some if she searched the rose garden, but they would probably have all been lost in this rain and wind. That's right. The boiler room isn't cleaned very often. If she went there, she might be able to find some. Shannon ran down the stairs to search for those in the underground boiler room. Had some medicine taken effect at the brink of death? Or had Kanon finally stopped even feeling pain? For the time being, Kanon had at least gotten over his painful gasping. Nanjo apparently didn't think of this as that great of a trend, and didn't let his eyes off Kanon for a second. Kumasawa firmly gripped Kanon's hand, and kept encouraging him, so that his will to stay alive didn't fall asleep. Genji and Goda seemed bewildered at how to deal with the truth that Kanon had risked his life to deliver.
ローザ様の銃は確か4発か5発の弾が込められたはずだ。
決して少ない数ではないですね。でもあの銃は弾の装填に結構な慣れが必要だったはず。一発目は撃たせてしまうかもしれませんが、みんなで襲いかかれば次を撃たせずに銃を奪い取れるかも。
この島には医者はいても薬はなく、病院もない。撃たれどころが悪ければ死ぬぞ。
それは分かっていますが、それより早く行動を起こさないとまた次の事件が起こる可能性も。私たちはローザ様にうまく追い出された気がします。今頃ジョージ様やバトラ様が殺されている可能性も。
そんな危険な相手なら無理に刺激しない方がいいんじゃありませんか。
しかし明日までは長い。どんな手を打ってくるか想像もつきませんよ。源氏さん、こちらから仕掛けるべきです。せめて10歳理由をこじつけて奪えばなんとかなるかも。
弾は4、5発じゃありませんか。ということは私たち全員を殺すには足りないということです。迂闊に刺激しなければきっとローザ様もむやみには。
あいつは言ったよ。僕たちを皆殺しにすると言った。
Closed my heart. Kanon, who they thought had been sleeping quietly, suddenly started talking brightly. Almost like he had been awake the whole time, and had suddenly opened his mouth. He looked firm and steady, and Nanjo was slightly relieved, but thinking of the deepness of that wound, he just couldn't wipe away a certain creepy feeling. Oh shit! Oh shit! Is he gonna kill all of them and have Shannon be put up to debate about being the killer? Is Beatrice pretending to be Shannon going to kill the four in the room and make Shannon seem to be the suspicious one? He knew because he was a doctor. He knew because he was a doctor. Kanon should have been expected to fall unconscious after losing so much blood. And yet somehow, he had preserved his awareness so clearly. Youth? Or tendency? Sometimes the power of human life did surpass common knowledge. When they had stopped bleeding, to make sure there were no foreign objects inside the affected area, Nanjo had groped around a bit inside the bleeding hole with tweezers, and the great depth of the wound had surprised him. That wound had clearly reached as far as his lungs. And yet, no. On the other hand, the fact that he is alive is fortunate. But Kanon had spoken clearly. He had hatefully said that the one named Rosa had created this wound, and was repeating curses and enraged words.
"あいつは親方様の財産を独り占めするために、台風が過ぎ去るまでにどんな手を使ってでも皆殺しにする気なんだ."
Yep, definitely not the actual Kanon.
あいつはそうするとはっきり僕に言ったよ。
くそ、なんて人だ。
Goto, shouldn't you be concerned about the fact that Kanon's talking, despite the wound he has?
源氏さん、どうしましょう。私たちにも何か武器がいるのでは。
にわかには信じられん。ローザ様がそのようなことを。
源氏様、信じる信じないじゃない。あいつが僕にそう言ったんですよ。この僕が聞いたんです。どうして信じてくれないんですか？
起きないで。傷に触ります。
Kanon sat up on the bed and spoke to Genzi, who was making no effort to believe Kanon's story.
あいつは僕たちを必ず全員殺す。もうきっと客間の方々も殺されているに違いありません。僕らが先に殺さなければ必ず僕らが先に殺される。僕が先に殺されたようにみんなも先に殺される。殺さなきゃ殺される。殺さなきゃ殺される。殺さなきゃ殺される。
カノンさん、あんた本当に痛くないのか？
ああ、これですか。大した傷じゃありません。
大した傷じゃないどころか、あんたは
本当に大したことありません。こんなのもう全然痛くないし、本当に大した傷じゃない。
As Kanon said that, he began to untie his own bandages, which had been painstakingly wrapped. The gruesome hole in his chest was immediately exposed.
カノンさん、そんなことをしてはダメですよ。早く横になって。
大丈夫ですって。ほらねえ、大した傷じゃないでしょ。
Kanon showed off his gaping wound, which was still slowly spitting out foamy blood. Everyone averted their eyes reflexively.
ほら、全然大した傷じゃないですって。
やめなさい。傷をいじってはいけません。
ほら見て、全然深い傷じゃないんですよ。ほらほら。
Kanon held up 2 fingers, showed them to everyone, and slowly started to stick them into the gruesome wound right in the center of his chest. Please don't tell me he had his fingers like this and stuff. Plunging, slimy, squishy, wet. Is this being written by one of the stakes of purgatory? The fingers went in deep to the base. Squish, gloop, glorp.
カノンさん、やめてやめて。
Having stuck his fingers completely into his chest, up to their base, he slowly pulled them out in exactly the same way. The fingers he pulled out were stained a sticky, solid, deep red color, and there was even a thread hanging. The fingers were, all the way to their base, covered in deep red.
ね、全然大した傷じゃないでしょ。
Beatrice! He's fucking Beatrice! Just then, the door opened vigorously, and Shannon appeared. Wait, did Shannon see through the trick? Even after she saw Kanon stained with fresh blood, her impregnable expression didn't falter.
やあ姉さん、どこへ行っていたの？僕が既得だというのに、一体どこへ？
ボイラー室に行ってきたの。探し物があって、それより確かめたいの。あなたは本当にカノン君。
It was only natural. Everyone believed he was Kanon. So they couldn't understand the meaning of Shannon's question. When they looked, they noticed that Shannon was holding a handkerchief in her hand. It was filthy, and looked like she had wiped up some dust, trash or dust. And I'm gonna repeat that. It was filthy, and looked like she had wiped up some trash or dust. And while holding that, she approached Kanon and drew close to his legs.
なんだい、それは。
雲の巣を拭き取ったハンカチよ。
なんでそんなものを？
カノン君なら平気だろうけど、もしあなたにとって雲が天敵だったなら嫌うかなって思って。
やだな。僕がどうして雲を嫌うの？
ごめん、試すね。
シャノンさん。
Whoa! Holy shit! When Shannon brought that handkerchief close to Kanon's thigh, something happened in an instant. It happened all at once. The human eye couldn't have followed it. Kanon jumped back like a wild goat, fleeing from the thing Shannon was holding. Damn. And his arm drew trails with some kind of afterglow that flashed purple. There were three beautiful purple trails drawn in an arc, and they were traced across the throats of Nanjo and Kumasawa, who had been tending to him. No! And Nanjo and Kumasawa's throats had opened like gaping mouths, and it was the very instant before the blood was about to start spewing out. The third purple trail should have traced across Shannon's throat, but Shannon wasn't there, because Genji, who had been behind her, had wrapped his own arm around Shannon's neck and pulled her back. Yeah, Genji! This all happened in an instant. In the instant that Gota tried to think fast in an attempt to understand the scene, the frozen moment in time shattered. Red dread. Blood spewed forcibly from Nanjo and Kumasawa's necks, which had been torn open. Still mid-jump, Kanon wall kicked off a picture frame that had been hanging from the wall behind him, springing forward just like a cat, and aiming for Shannon's throat again. But Kanon's target, once again, disappeared from right in front of him, because Genji had pulled Shannon again, and the two of them had fallen onto the ground, keeping flat to the floor.
いい反射神経だ。この老いぼれ家具が。
Holy shit, Genji!
ゴダ
Gota, are you gonna tackle him? Gota wasn't an idiot either. Even if he couldn't fully understand what was going on, he at least realized that if this Kanon wasn't seized, his own life would also be in peril. He sprung at Kanon with his huge body, pushing him against the wall with his weight and physical strength. Come on, Gota, don't get killed! Damn! Is he beating up Beatrice Kanon?
離せ、 このデカブツが
The tips of the fingers on Kanon's right hand began to trace out another purple trail. No! 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 Okay, there was a loud thunk. Okay, he's fine. And when he raised that blade hand up, aiming to strike at Goda's back, there was a loud thunk. Because Kanon's raised blade hand had been pinned to the wall. He couldn't tear his palm away from the wall. Sticking out from it was a knife that Genji had thrown. Holy shit! Okay, I didn't expect Genji to be a badass, but holy shit! Sticking out from it was a knife Genji had thrown. Under normal circumstances, it should have been surprising to see someone as old as Genji handle a knife so skillfully. But in this abnormal space, no one paid it much mind.
源氏様、これを。
Genji took the handkerchief with the spiderweb stuck to it from Shannon. And he approached Kanon, who was pinned to the wall by Goda's massive body and the knife.
やめろ。それを近づけるな。やめろ。
Is Beatrice afraid of spiders? Holy shit. Well, I could relate to Beatrice in that regard. Or spiders burn him. Her... whatever this sort of canon is. What is this canon? This is like something made up by Beatrice. It's burning him though. The spider was burning him. So whatever he is, he gets burned by spider web. When Genji pushed the handkerchief up against Kanon's face, there was a sound just like the one you hear when you set meat on a red-hot iron plate. Of course, the smell was the same too, as he was burned and inflamed, festering in filthy red and black, and cried out in his death throes. Kanon's body burst open and shattered. It was almost as though a balloon filled with gold leaf had popped. The entire separate room was completely buried under a storm of gold leaf. No, a rabble of gold butterflies. Those butterflies began to suddenly fade into nothingness, as though dissolving into water. No, into the air itself. And afterwards, all that was left was the three of them sitting on their behinds, stained with blood. However, not everyone was just stained with blood. Some of them were lying on the ground, vomiting blood themselves.
久野様、南條先生。
Either way, the three servants are suspicious for the death of Nanjo and Kumasawa! Either way, Beatrice won in this case! She didn't get all the servants, but she got two people to make the other three suspicious! Holy shit! Either way, Beatrice's plan of chaos is working. Whatever thing she's doing right now, it's chaos. And this chaos is gonna fucking work, I know it. Damn. A slit so sharp that it looked like it could cut your finger if you touched it was open wide, causing large amounts of blood to keep pouring out.
何だったんだ。いや、今のは。
ゴーダ、怪我はないか。
私は大丈夫です。
Yeah!
しかし、私たちは何を見たんだ。何があったんです。私はあれを確かにこの手でこの壁に押し付けていたのに。
So, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the whirlpool and say Goda's innocent. I'm gonna jump into the whirlpool and say that now. He's innocent. That's the one character I'm confirming is innocent now. Fuck it. I'm doing it now. If he's this confused by all this, he might as well be innocent.
その私が何があったのか理解できない。
Goda looked at his own hand. The bright red blood from the scuffle with Kanon definitely remained. And yet, Kanon was nowhere to be seen, because he had disappeared. He had turned into gold butterflies and scattered. Goda kept screaming alone that he had no clue about what was going on. Well, they're dead. Nanjo Teramaza died in the servant room. His throat slit by a sharp blade, or something similar, but this alone isn't enough. Not a Twilight. Kumasawa Chiyo died in the servant room. Her throat slit by a sharp blade or something similar. Finishing touches yet to come. Finishing touches? What does that mean? What? Wait, yeah, what does that mean? Okay, so, but this alone isn't enough. Okay, so he doesn't count as Twilight. But this gives some indication about what is to might come. What is to might come, oh my god. What is to come? Shannon sobbed in front of Nanjo and Kumasawa's remains. And Genji watched over her, silent as always. Umineko no Nakukori ni! Holy shit! 1:17 p.m. Devil's Proof.
南條先生と熊沢さんが
Alright. I'm gonna have to save this for next time, but holy crap! That was... Okay, that was an interesting move. That was an interesting move, Beatrice. That was a really interesting move on the chessboard. I'm gonna admit this now. That was a good move. I really enjoyed that one. How in the hell could Balor explain what just happened in there? Like, the only way he could explain is... Now, how could he explain what happened in there? Because two people had their throats slit out. Yeah, there's no way that, you know, they can explain themselves. The servants, they can't do that at this point because, well, what is there to say? Like, you had to incriminate Kanon. But Kanon's gone, too. And why are you three alive when those two are dead? Beatrice's definitely playing her moves right. I'll have to think more about this. I'll have to actually think more about this, but I might have to go with the first episode. That was mostly real. Like, almost all the murders were real. But in this second episode, I will be willing to admit that some magic has been involved because Beatrice's power has increased due to the belief of her that stemmed from the first episode. The more belief in her, the more powerful she is. The more powerful she is, the more she can kill. The one person that's probably the most innocent is Goda. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. Goda's innocent. He didn't do anything. He's innocent. Well, Goda, despite all the suspicions that I have about you and Klaus working together, I'm just gonna say this now. I don't think you did any murders. If you're this confused by a lot of this stuff and freak out with what's going on, you know what, I'm just gonna believe you. I'm gonna say that you're not the culprit. This is gonna be a little bit tougher than I thought. This is gonna be a little bit tougher than I thought to narrow down who could the culprit be. Because I think there's a servant's involved, but I can't figure out which servant. The easiest answer would be Kumasawa, but I don't think it's Kumasawa. Well, it could be Kumasawa. I'm not Xing out Kumasawa due to how she is the first one I'm suspecting. But also at the same time, I don't know if I'm going to be correct by going with the Kumasawa angle. But I know for certain that Goda is not guilty. Fuck it, I'm going to say it. Goda is not guilty, and to prove my point, I'm going to introduce a new rule for myself. Whenever I have finally solidified a theory in the question arcs as I'm playing, even though I won't do too many of these while playing, But as soon as I solidify a theory of mine that I'm going to keep to until the answer arcs, I'm going to keep to this one. I'm going to go ahead and make up the pink truth. Yes, the pink truth, which is a theory within these question arcs that I'm just going to go ahead and state right out, I believe is what's going on. The pink truth, aka what I believe is going to be the truth. Now, this might not be, all these could be easily be debunked in the answer arcs. But for the first ever pink truth that I'm going to state, my first pink truth is Goda is not the culprit. Maybe I shouldn't call it pink truth. Yeah, I was going off the red truth, like trying to give it a cute name, but okay. Pink theory. Pink theory? For some reason, I keep on feeling like I'm making some reference to something. Okay, what can I say? Okay, pink theory? Yeah, instead of pink truth, even though I like the, name similarity with red truth, I might go with pink theory.
Okay.